Look at this diagram over here. I've taken the circle and cut it in half. Now the top half, the people are emotionally dominant, strong in the area of emotion, and somewhat of the mind and the will. They tend to be very relational. They're very relationship oriented. And the people on the bottom half, they tend to be more task or project oriented. Now let me cut it one more time like this. And the people that's on the right hand side, they tend to be spontaneous and impulsive. The people on the left hand side, they tend to be more planned and systematic in their approach. Let me cut it one more time like this. And the people on the right hand side, they tend to have extrovert and leadership qualities. The people on the left hand side, they tend to be more of an introvert and they make very good followers. So these are little clues to help you understand yourself better. Now, for me, talk about myself, for me, the top three would be, number one would be encourager, which some of you may have guessed. Number two would be the giver, love to give. And number three would be compassion. That would be me, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now, if I was to make a pie chart, that's what it would look like. Okay, that's what it would look like. So would you take a moment and create a pie chart for yourself based upon what you have understood so far? What are your top 3 profiles? Now, you possess a unique personality and you've got very specific strengths or talents, and you've been placed here on earth at this time and place to accomplish a unique assignment that only you can do best. If you don't know your purpose, which many people don't, then try to figure out your passion. What are you passionate about? Because your passion will lead you right into your purpose in life. So now with this understanding of who you are and what exactly are your drives, you're well on your way to fulfilling your destiny or your calling or your purpose or your assignment in life. But begin today. Now here are some more clues to help you recognize your assignment. When people give you a heartfelt thanks, when you're practicing your talents or your strengths, then you will know that you're well on your way. When they give you grave reviews, when they give you accolades or a pat on the back for something that you've done that's absolutely outstanding, then you might have hit upon your thing, your strength or your talent. When you are so enthusiastic about doing this, whatever this is, whatever it is that you love to do, that you would gladly pay out of your own pocket to do it, then it's quite possible that you may have found it. Here's another clue. Supposing you suddenly received an inheritance and now you have all the money in the world for your needs for your entire lifetime and for your kids too. What would you do now with your time and the rest of your life and all this money? There's a big clue over there. There's a very big clue over there. So in what way would you begin to serve humanity, other people, besides taking care of yourself and your family, with the tools that you now possess? But you have to start. Like the old Chinese proverb says, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So now that you have understood your strengths and your weaknesses, and you have accepted yourself the way you are, the way you were born, you understand why you're driven in a certain direction and not in another, why you have been placed here in this particular time and place to accomplish a unique destiny, a unique calling. Now simply follow your passion and your assignment will become clear. It's as simple as that, friends. Don't complicate it. It's as simple as that. Somewhere along the way, you will discover yourself and your assignment in life. Now, having understood myself much better and having understood others in life a little bit better, the people around me, we are now in a good position to get along better with them. So let's choose to improve our relationships with others, especially the ones that we may be having difficulty with. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about relationships. Okay, it may not be easy, but it will be possible. Now, why? Because you understand yourself better, you understand other people better. Some people are brilliant. they're highly accomplished, etc. But if they're not good at relationships, then there is a limit to their success. Relationships may be the most important factor in your life. So now look at this little flow chart over here. There is me right at the top. On the right hand side, the flow chart, let's say I don't understand people. If I do not understand people, then it creates a lot of stress, which used to happen to me in the past. It leads to a lot of loss of productivity, which spells into less profits, which translates into poor health and no promotions. And life is no fun. Life is no fun. But on the other side, look at the other side of the flow chart, on the left hand side. If I begin to understand people with this teaching that you've just received right now, and I begin to practice a little bit of understanding, that will lead into harmony. It will lead into unity. I will find myself becoming more productive in my job, in my relationships, in every sphere of life. I will find myself becoming healthier in my health. That leads into more profits, more promotions, and fun in life. Fun in life. So now look at this schematic diagram and ask yourself, where are you? Is there any room for improvement here? Now, to drive this point a little bit further, it's about being a certain kind of person and not being a certain kind of a person. When I'm gentle, when I'm patient and kind, when I begin to love honesty in myself and others, when I hate wrongdoings by others, when I'm always believing the best for others, when I'm understanding that defeats can be only temporary, and never giving up, okay? When I be these kind of things, and on the other hand, when I'm not being jealous at somebody else's success, when I'm not boasting about my own achievements, when I'm not being proud of myself but being humble, not shaming others, not being disrespectful, not seeking my own honor, not being easily irritated or being easily offended, then I realize that what I'm practicing is love. Love. You know that old saying, love others as you love yourself. Now, my friends, this sounds almost simplistic. It sounds very simple. Love? No, but this is very difficult. It may be the most difficult thing that you've ever done in your life, to truly love other people, especially the ones that are very unloving, especially the ones that have hurt you, and that is so hard to get along with. This is difficult, my friends. It may be the most difficult thing that you've been called to do, to love other people, exactly like I described in the slide before that. But if you can achieve this, then you will realize great benefits. The rewards, my dear friends, is completely out of proportion to the amount of effort that you put in there. But it can be a bit hard. It can be a bit hard in the beginning, because all the time you have to say no to yourself but yes to the other person. You have to be unselfish. When you would like to have things for yourself, you have to be patient with others. When you would rather speak your mind and tell them what to do, it's hard. It is hard. You're denying yourself. You're, in a sense, you're dying to yourself but saying yes to the other person. But if you can achieve this, believe me, the rewards are incredible. The rewards are amazing. That has been my experience. So I would say, to love, and we're talking about love, to love is divine, because God is love. It's like an equation. God is equal to love. So following this path of love will guarantee you success in life, in your health, in your wealth, and your relationships. I can assure you of that. That has been my experience. Now, in order to really explain this point, let me give you one quick example, okay, of how powerful is this principle that I'm talking about. It's a law. It's a law of human dynamics. And if you can master this law, You will be successful in life. You'll be successful in everything that you put your hands to. Okay? So let me give you a real life example. Look at this diagram right now. Let's say that there is a beautiful young girl and she's on the top half. Okay, let's cut this circle in half, and she's in the top half. She's very emotional, sweet, loving, kind, understanding, beautiful, all that. And let's say on the bottom half there is a guy who's strong-willed, and he's got a strong mind. He's an achiever, and he goes out there and gets things done. Now, across the circle, he sees this girl who's sweet and understanding and nice, and he likes her. And she, on the other hand, begins to like him. See, now this is the way we are wired. Okay, we are constructed in such a way that we try to complete ourselves in the other person. Besides the male-female attraction that is there, the physical attraction, there is also this other thing within us that tries to complete ourselves in the other person. So now this guy looks at this girl and he says, wow, what a girl. She's so sweet and understanding. She's the one person who could understand me. And on the other hand, the girl looks at this guy and says, my goodness, what a go-getter, what an achiever. He's the kind of person I would like to be the father of my children. So they fall in love. They get married. They have a wonderful time. And the first couple of years are beautiful because they are so different. They bring so much to the table. They have a beautiful time. But then it begins. The very things that attracted them to one another in the first place now become a source of anger and irritation and annoyance. For example, a very common example, all over the world, let's say that the wife is trying to lose weight. And one day, the husband, the man, he brings home a great dinner and some great food, and he wants to celebrate because he's had a good time at the office. And he says to his wife, come on, let's have a great evening. We'll have this great food that I brought home, and you don't have to do any cooking, and we'll watch a good movie and have a good time. And the wife, she looks at this meal at the table and she says, oh no, I have to lose weight. I can't eat these things. And he says, oh no, why do you have to say that? You're always saying the same thing, that you want to lose weight. Just go out and do it. How many times have I told you, just go and do it? Just like that Nike advertisement, the Nike advertisement, just do it. For him, life is very simple. You want to do something, you want to achieve something in life, just go and do it. What is there to debate about? What is there to talk about? For him, the distance between A and B is a straight line. So all his life, because he's such a strong-willed guy, because he's got such a good mind, anytime he wanted to achieve anything in life, he just went and did it. So for the life of him, he cannot understand why his wife is having such a hard time just going and doing things and losing weight. And he tells her, listen, we've discussed this so many times. I've got all the money in the world. Get a personal trainer, go to the gym, just work, do it. And she says, oh, never mind, you'll never understand. So, they have a very bad evening. Maybe another year passes, and then they have another very bad night. And the next day in the morning, they look at one another at the breakfast table, and the husband, he looks at his wife and says, I cannot believe that we got married. And she says, yeah, we are completely incompatible. So he says, do you think we should separate, get divorced? And she says, yes, I think we'd better before we kill each other. So now mind you, this is a true story. So this couple was on the way to the divorce court. In my friend's city, his name is Dr. Bill Yeary in Beaumont, Texas, and there he has a counseling office. And he is the one who prepared all this teaching material. And he taught me, and I'm teaching you. So on the way to the divorce court, this couple, they say, you know what, let's see if Dr. Bill is free and if he can help us, one last ditch attempt. So they go to his office, he was free, and then he takes them, this couple, he takes them through the same teaching that I'm offering you right now, everything. And at the end of the whole thing, the husband, his eyes become big and he says, oh my goodness, to his wife, now I understand you. Now I understand why you behave the way you do. I thought you were just crazy. And she also, her eyes open big and she says, oh my goodness. So that is why you do what you do, because you have been wired to do things that way. And Dr. Bill, the counselor, he explains to them, listen, because you two were so different, that is why you were so attracted to one another. And that is why your first few years of marriage were so much of fun, because you were so different. But now that the differences have come to the surface, and it's like a wedge that's in your marriage, pushing you further and further apart. But if you will practice a little bit more love, more patience, more tolerance, more kindness, all those good things, then your marriage has got the greatest potential to be very colorful, very productive, very flamboyant, lot of fun, because you're so different. What do you say? So the guy looks at the girl and says, well, what do you think? Should we give it another try? And she says, now that I understand you better, yeah, I think we should give it another try. And so they decide not to get divorced. They come back together, and now you remember that she was trying to lose weight. So what does she do? She says, my husband, he's such an achiever. How does he achieve so much in life? And then she sees that no matter how tired he is, he will always get up at the same time in the morning. He'll do his exercise. He'll go to work, put in a full day's work. He's such a strong-willed guy. So she says, yeah, even if it kills me, for the next 1 month, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to exercise and go on a diet, I'm going to lose weight. And so she calls up, a dozen of her friends. She's got many friends, and she says, please, encourage me, motivate me, accompany me, but help me to lose some weight. I must do it. And they said, of course, we'll help you. So a month passes by, and then this dear lady, this wife, when she looks into the mirror after a month, she sees this, and she says, oh my goodness, I have not looked this beautiful ever since I was a teenager. So you see, my friend, she was able to achieve something extremely significant in her life simply by taking a page out of her husband's book. She just did what a husband does all the time. And he, on the other hand, he says to himself, my wife has so many friends who would kill themselves, who would sacrifice themselves for her. How does she get so many friends? I don't have one single friend who appreciates me for who I am. And then he looks at his wife and he understands that she really cares about her friends. When they're speaking, she's looking at them in the eye. She's really creates time for them, gives them gifts. She's not thinking about the next thing to say. She's always concerned and thinking about her friends. So he says, okay, let me try and practice that. One day it so happens that into his company comes one young junior officer, and who he feels he might get along with. So he starts practicing these same things that his wife does all the time on this young guy. And after some time, this young guy, a couple of months later, says, boss, even though you're my boss, I really enjoy being around you. You're a fun guy to be around with. And this husband, his chest swells with pride, and he says, my goodness, for the first time, somebody appreciates me for who I am. Not because of my power, my influence, and what I can do for them. Not because they fear me, but because of who I am. So, what happened over here? The husband just took a page out of his wife's book. That is what his wife does all the time. So, my friends, do you understand that this is what relationships, especially marriage, is all about? It's so that we rub off on one another, we become more like one another. We take things from one another's life. Are you getting the picture? Are you getting the point? So this couple then goes on to become go on to have a great marriage. Observing this, there is another couple, friend of theirs, who had already become divorced. And they go to Dr. Bill and they ask him, the counselor, could you do for us what you did for that couple? They seem to be so happy together. They were on the verge of divorce. So Dr. Bill takes them through the same teaching that I've just given to you right now. And guess what happens? This couple starts practicing those same things and they decide to get remarried. They get remarried and they have a long, good life. So my friends, do you see? Do you understand how powerful is this principles, these laws that I'm talking to you about? They will help you greatly in your relationships, and relationships are very critical for your success, your health, and your happiness in life. So now that you have this understanding, you can begin to start applying it in all your relationships, with your spouse, your children, your parents, at work, the difficult person that you cannot get along with. This will help you greatly. And I'm so happy, I am so glad to be able to offer this teaching to you. It's all about love. It's all about love. It's all about self-sacrifice, sacrificing myself for the other person so that the other person might do better. But in the process, I discover that I'm the one who benefits the most. Isn't that wonderful? Thank you. Thank you for listening to me.